Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about some of my highly anticipated new releases that are coming out in the spring and summer. Some of my all-time favorite authors, god tier authors, are coming out with new releases this spring and summer, and I cannot wait to get into some of these. Without further ado, let's just get into it. So the first book that I have on my radar this year comes out May 6th, is My Friends by Fredrik Backman. Ever since I read Anxious People by Fredrik Backman, I have been absolutely obsessed with his writing. I still haven't read anything else by him, but honestly, I am prepared to go down the Fredrik Backman rabbit hole and read all of his works and all of his backlist. My Friends is just gonna be the start of that. I'm gonna go ahead and read a little bit of the synopsis. Unforgettably funny, deeply moving tale of four teenagers whose friendships creates a bond so powerful that it changes a complete stranger's life 25 years later. That's the first time I've read that, and that is so up my alley. Most people don't even notice them. Three tiny figures sitting at the end of a long pier in the corner of one of the most famous paintings in the world. Most people think it's just a depiction of the sea, but Louisa, an inspiring artist herself, knows otherwise, and she's determined to find out the story of these three why is that so hard to say? Enigmatic figures. 25 years earlier, in a distant seaside town, a group of teenagers find refuge from their bruising home lives by spending long summer days on an abandoned pier, telling silly jokes, sharing secrets, and committing small acts of rebellion. These lost souls find in each other a reason to get up each morning, a reason to dream, a reason to love. Y'all, that just made me even so much more excited to read this. I knew nothing about this book at all until just now. The second one that I have my eyes on that I will be reading pretty much immediately when I get it is the second book in the Saga of the Unfated series by Daniel L. Jensen. The first book was A Fate Inked in Blood, and it had the most beautiful cover. The second book comes out on May 13th. It says, a shield maiden fights to break the shackles of prophecy and to overcome the betrayal of a man who broke her heart. And the searing conclusion of the oh, it's a duology. Oh, I love a good duology. Okay. And the searing conclusion to the Norse-inspired fantasy romance duology that began with the best-selling A Fate Inked in Blood. You know what? I'm actually not going to read the synopsis of this one because it's a second and apparently a concluding story of this duology. I'm going to pull up the synopsis of the first book and we'll read that. A Fate Inked in Blood. A shield maiden blessed by the gods battles to unite a nation under a power-hungry king while fighting her growing desire for his fiery son. Bound in an unwanted marriage, Freya spends her days getting fish, but dreams of becoming a warrior and putting an axe in her boorish husband's back. Freya's dreams abruptly become reality when her husband betrays her to the region's Jarl, landing her in a fight to the death against his son Bjorn. I love that name, by the way. Freya is forced to reveal her deepest secret. She possesses a drop of the goddess's blood, which makes her a shield maiden with magic capable of repelling any attack. And it's been foretold that such magic will unite the fractured nation of Skyland beneath the one who controls the shield maiden's fate. Now I remember what it was about. A Fate Inked in Blood was not my favorite, but it's the book that pushed me to read the Bridge Kingdom series, which is my favorite series that I've read this year. So I'm very excited just to like get more of her writing, honestly. Moving on, the third book that comes out May 20th that I have had pre-ordered ever since it was announced, before the cover was even published. The Night and the Moth by Rachel Gillig. A gothic mist-cloaked tale of a young prophetess forced on an impossible quest with the one knight whose future is beyond her sight. Sybil Delling has spent 9 years dreaming of having no dreams at all, like the other foundling girls who traded a decade of service for a home in the great cathedral. Sybil is a diviner. In her dreams, she receives visions from 6 unearthly figures known as omens. From them, she can predict terrible things before they occur, and lords and common folk alike travel across the kingdom of Trium's windswept moors to learn their futures by her dreams. That sounds very cool. Also kind of sounds very similar to like the whimsy, fantastical, gothic style writing of One Dark Window. If that's the case, I'm very excited for this, but I do want to make sure that I'm in the mood to read that type of writing because I want to love this just as much. The next book on my list of highly anticipated releases this year is Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab. This one comes out June 10th. I can't wait for this. I read The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue and fell head over heels in love with Addie LaRue and her story. And I'm just very curious to read more of V. Schwab's books. I haven't read anything else by her. And for whatever reason, versus going backwards and reading some of her older or like previous releases, I just really want to read this one. I've seen people, you know, get arcs of it and review them already and just be like ecstatic over this next book. So it just makes me even more excited. Oh, this is a time jump. Okay, this is cool. So it starts in 1532. Santo Domingo de la Calzada, a young girl grows up wild and willy. Her beauty is only outmatched by her dreams of escape. Maria knows she can only ever be a prize or a pawn in the games played by men. When an alluring stranger offers an alternative path, Maria makes a desperate choice. She vows to have no regrets. This is a story about love. 1872 London. A young woman lives an idyllic but cloistered life on her family's estate until a moment of forbidden intimacy sees her shipped off to London. Charlotte's tender heart and seemingly impossible wishes are swept away by an invitation from a beautiful widow, but the price of freedom is higher than she could have imagined. This sounds like it's gonna pull on my heartstrings a lot, probably make me cry like a baby, and I'm very excited for that. I'm not gonna read any more of this synopsis because I don't want to spoil anything. Honestly, I love going into books blind. I try to do it all the time. Every single time I read a book, actually, I try to go in blind. So I'm not gonna read anymore. This one I'm so excited about. Another book that is highly anticipated for me, not because I've read any of their works previously. This would be the first book that I read by them. Because she's been so highly reviewed by other readers and other authors and storytellers, it just makes me want to read a book. Calabasas by R.F. Kuang. Knowing what her stories are usually about and the path that they usually take, just based off of the vibes, honestly, of her previous books, makes me excited to read this one. So we'll read a little bit about it. Oh man, okay. Dante's Inferno meets Susanna Clark's Piranesi in this all-new dark academia fantasy from R.F. Kuang, in which two graduate students must put aside their rivalry and journey to hell to save their professor's soul, perhaps at the cost of their own. Calabasas, noun, ancient Greek, the story of a hero's descent to the underworld. This is cool. This just sounds like it's gonna be really cool. She just seems like an author that has like such an amazing imagination and creativity. She seems smart and educated and like fun, and all of these books that I've heard about, I haven't read yet, all seem to have like the academic theme to go with them, and that's something that I love to read about. I'm excited for this one. This one comes out on August 26th, so we have quite a bit of time before this comes out. Honestly, it'll be perfect time right before the fall to get into that like fall dark academia gothic style mood. The next book that I am very excited about is called Rose and Chains by Julie Soto. This one comes out July 8th. If I'm not mistaken, this book is actually a Draco and Hermione fanfic author who was actually picked up by a publisher, changed the title, and published the book. So this, I think, is a Hermione fanfic novel. I read Manacled last year, or the year before last year, and it ripped my heart out of my body. My soul was gone. I was deceased after I read that book. I was not okay for at least a couple months after reading that book. Honestly, biggest book slump of my life after I read that. Still, like thinking back on it, can feel the heartbreak and just like the physical anguish that I had after finishing it. That's the only Hermione fanfic that I've read is Manacled. I don't want Manacled, honestly, to be ruined by any other Hermione's, because that is like top tier. Nothing can really beat that in my opinion. I'm nervous about this one. I am going to be purchasing it. I am going to be reading it, but I just like, you know, I just don't know if it's gonna be anywhere near as good as Manacled. The war is over, the dark forces have won, and the hero who was supposed to save them is dead. Captured as her castle is overrun by the enemy, the world as Briony Rosewood knows it. Stripped of her magic and her freedom, Briony and other survivors are quickly sold off to the highest bidders in an auction, and as Evermore's princess, she fetches the highest price. After a fierce bidding war, she's sold to none other than Tovin Hirst, scion of family known for their cruelty. Comes out July 8th. and I will absolutely be reading it. The next book that I'm highly anticipating this year is It's a Love Story by Animal Monaghan. I read Nora Goes Off Script this year and I love that book so much, and honestly I could reread it now. It just immediately transports you into spring and summer and happiness and love and cozy. She just has such a fun, realistic, and like relatable writing style. I can picture myself as the main character immediately, and in her world it just, like I said, it seems very relatable, and for me that can really make or break a book. If I feel like I can relate to it, if I feel like the writing style is like very realistic, if I can picture myself as the main character and like saying those things and stuff, that will really help me connect with the story, and that really will take a book to the next level for me. And I feel like Animal Monaghan just has that talent of being able to portray a real life thought and a real life sentence and a real life situation on a page, and does a really, really good job at doing that. Jane Jackson spent her adolescence as poor Janie Jakes, the barbecue sauce in her braces punchline of America's fifth favorite sitcom. Now she's trying to be taken seriously as a Hollywood studio executive by embracing a new mantra: fake it till you make it. Except she might have faked it too far. Desperate to get her first project greenlit and riled up by some pompous cinematographer and one-time crush Dan Finnegan, she claimed that she could get mega pop star Jack Quinlan to write a song for the movie. Jack may have been her first kiss and greatest source of shame, but she hasn't spoken to him in 20 years. This definitely sounds like a just really fun time, just a giddy fun time that I'm going to be swooning over and just absolutely eating up. The last book that we're going to talk about is the none other Emily Henry's new book, Great Big Beautiful Life. This one actually comes out today, April 22nd, I believe. I have only read 2 books by Emily Henry, Happy Place and Funny Story. I ate up Funny Story. I just love the 2 main characters. I think they were funny. It was just a good time. I love the fact that she portrayed being, you know, working in the service industry or the food service industry with the male main character, and how she talked about how that's like frowned upon in the world and stuff. I mean, I was a server and a bartender for years through college and high school, and I always just felt like this weird, I don't know, I just never felt like I was good enough. I always felt like I needed to be doing something different. And like, I know, and I worked with people who were doing that for their life and their career and ended up making it a career. And I just loved how she talked about that. I haven't read any of her other books, but I have thrifted Beach to Read and People Meet on Vacation. So I have those 2 that I want to read this year as well. So Great Big Beautiful Life comes out tomorrow. I'm sure you've heard of it. I'll read a little bit of the synopsis. Alice Scott is an internal optimist, still dreaming of her big writing break. Hayden Anderson is a Pulitzer Prize winning human thundercloud, and they're both on balmy little Crescent Island for the same reason: to write the biography of a woman no one has seen in years, or at least to meet with the octogenarian who claims to be the Margaret Ives. Tragic heiress, former tabloid princess, and daughter of one of the most storied and scandalous families of the 20th century. I think this is gonna be fun. I'm excited to read it. When I'm reading a contemporary romance, I'm not really looking for a whole lot. I'm just looking for a good time. Sounds fun. I've read her stuff before. I loved it, so I really don't need any more than that. So those are all the books that I am excited about that are going to be coming out in the spring and summertime. Obviously, these are not all the books that are going to be coming out. These are just the ones that I have had my eye on for a while now, the ones that I will definitely be purchasing and the ones that I'll definitely be reading this year. If you guys have any book recommendations that you think that I would like that I didn't talk about today, definitely leave them down below and let's talk about it. I am always open to getting book recommendations. I mean, if we're being honest, that's how I ended up with this TBR behind me. I am very excited to share these with you guys. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend and a wonderful week, and I will see you guys in the next video.